Here's the outcomes that we want to get to during the course of the discussion. First, we want to talk about the impact of workforce development. Everybody here intuitively understands why this is so important, but we want to share some research data that makes that point both from an organizational perspective and an individual employee's perspective. Kate will then come up and share some industry best practices in terms of what people in the private sector are doing and how some of those lessons learned might apply to NAVFAC. I'll come back up and talk about the assessment, the baseline assessment that we provided NAVFAC senior leadership on the 24th of September, and also talk about the way forward for the workforce development strategic design project that we've been awarded. And then Ann's going to come up and lead through a couple exercises, defining success for the project, as well as making some commitments for everybody to work on the partnership going forward. Why is workforce development important? First of all, from the employee's perspective, it's an opportunity to connect what they do every day to the mission of the organization while enhancing their job satisfaction and meeting their own career goals. I like the reference that was made just a little while ago to the importance of the first-line supervisors in this process. They really are the key linkage in the conversation between supervisor and employee about how they inspire employees and about how they improve team performance at the road-wheel level. To the organization, it's also critically important lowering employee turnover and saving costs. If you don't have to recruit and replace people, it saves a lot of money. And the idea of employee engagement that increases employee productivity.
I'm going to talk about a few of the common characteristics of workforce development best in class, and then discuss 3 specific case studies that highlight best in class and how they can apply to NAVFAC. So there's 4 key characteristics of best in class. One is a learning culture that is supported and nurtured by leadership. The second is having a centralized and consistent workforce development model that provides fair and equitable access to development opportunities across the entire organization. We want to have peer learning from one's colleagues and peers. It's important as a piece of the learning and development of your organization. And finally, a balanced development approach. You might have heard of a 70-20-10 model. It's a learning that demonstrates that 70% of the learning and development should come from on-the-job experiences, 20% should be from social learning like mentoring and coaching, and 10%, the smallest segment, should come from formal coursework and training.
That includes career roadmaps and a catalog of development opportunities as they relate to leadership, management, and professional development activities. This will be a major input into Section 2 of the Community Management Framework. The strategy is, how do we execute that continuum? And also, how do we deliver and improve some of the scores in the baseline assessment, those 9 components that we talked about? How do we prioritize and sequence some work in those areas? And then finally, change management. We're not waiting until we're done with the continuum, not waiting until we're done with the strategy. We're working with BD17 to identify what are those activities that we can get on right now to kind of jumpstart the process.
Now, one theme is that start with the end in mind. That theme is that as we start to think about where we're going, we need to define what the end state is first. And so we want to leverage all of you to help us make sure that we are moving toward that end state. Because if we don't know what the end state is, we're not going to know if and when we have achieved it.
Key takeaways that we've identified, you may have different takeaways that were important to you, but improving workforce development is important to employees, supervisors, and the organization itself. We provided some research data that really tries to make that point. Becoming best in class requires promotion of a learning culture, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge for NAVFAC. You're so focused on the mission and day-to-day activities, that's going to require some work. And defining success with the end in mind. Improving NAVFAC's workforce development can start with leveraging what's already being done well, and we acknowledge there are things being done well, and creating strong partnerships and effective communications.